Hi everyone, here's another little lesson on YouTube on learning new words using index cards. One of my favorite topics, as you all know, one we've talked about a lot in class. And I'm going to give you some tips. Some of them you already know, some of them you will find new. And overall, it's just to remind you of how important this is to really increase the words you know, to really be able to say more in English, to say what you actually want to say precisely and nicely. First question of all is why do it at all? Why use index cards? Why not just take a list that I give you and learn that list and learn the list by heart or learn words from the back of your textbook? Which many people find easier because it doesn't involve the work of writing down new words. Well, here are some good reasons, I think, why to use index cards. First of all, obviously, the words come in a random order. You don't just learn a certain order of words. You don't just learn the word table tennis by memorizing that it comes after shower or whatever. Instead, you learn every word by itself because it always comes up in a different order at a different point. You can also group the words as you wish. You could decide just to only learn adjectives today. You could focus on just a group of words that you need for the upcoming exam. You could just go over words that you haven't looked at for a long time. So, you know, that's a method that makes you more efficient at being the manager of your own word learning and becoming your own manager. You will build a collection of cards over time, which is something I find very satisfying. When you do this for some months or some years, you have this huge stack of words and you actually see and feel how many words you've learned and how much your English has grown. So that's just a little like a garden that grows and you have more stuff growing there. Um, you avoid losing all those word lists that you might have, or those little notebooks that people tell me, you know, I could learn this from a notebook. But which of you, if you're honest, which of you still have those notebooks from year 5 or 6 or 7? They get lost and you never see them again. And of course, the textbooks, the English textbooks you get every year in Sekundarstufe 1, you will have to hand them in at the end of the year, so you lose all those words. So that doesn't happen. You have your own collection of words. And finally, of course, these cards fit nicely into your pocket. You can just take them along anywhere you want. You can just take 30, 40, 50 words and just take them out into the park or on a boring car ride or whatever. And just take 5 minutes to review this little stack of words and get the good feeling of having learned new words, or practice them and train them. So you might just start out by saying, okay, I'll take a card and write down a word like accept. And then you go, okay, this is not too clear because I might want to remind myself that this is actually a verb. So I replace this by a card that says to accept. And when we do this, we might remember that with most verbs, they have certain prepositions that go with them. So you might want to add accepted by to remind yourself that by is the preposition that you use in the passive with accepted. And then, of course, your brain, your brain works in the way that you connect things. You draw connections. You see, oh, this I understand this because this is related to something else I already know. So why not take some words that are related to accept, like acceptable, acceptance, or unacceptable? And that might make it easier for your brain to connect these words and to build a word field in your head. And then, of course, there are words that sound similar, but are actually spelled differently and actually mean something else. And that might be a word like except. And again, learn the preposition that goes with it, except for, as in everyone was there except for Mr. Schmolke. Uh, how do you use them? What can you do with them? Well, just take 3 cards from your stack. Yeah, let's say you take the cards umbrella, to envy someone something, and self-assured. And what could you do with those? Obviously, you could just make a sentence like, I envied him his umbrella, but I didn't ask for it because he seemed so self-assured. You could make it a little more difficult by making a question or a negative. Doesn't everybody envy other people their umbrellas when they walk around in such a self-assured way, and so on. You might make a question in a certain tense, like the simple past or the present perfect. I have never envied people their umbrellas. I've always been much too self-assured to do that. And then, of course, you can go a little further, make this a little more fun, and tell a little story about umbrellas and envy and self-assurance. And to do this, you might add some more words. So here you have 6 words. You add shadow, as if, and urgent. And I would just like you to try this for the next 10 seconds and just go and see if you can start a little story with these 6 words in the next 10 seconds. Okay, so just have a go. Try to make a story using as many of these 6 words as you can. And I guess you see how it works, and hopefully you see how this sort of makes your brain rattle and work and connect things. Well, you could also, of course, do this the other way around. You could make it more difficult by turning the cards around and using the German meanings, and then just start a story or make sentences and translating them from German into English. So that would, of course, be the original learning method, but it works both ways. So you could form sentences with the English words. You could practice translating them from one language to the other. And then what else could you do? You could, of course, get a friend or two to train these words, practice these words with you, which is, I guess, more fun usually. So why not have a little storytelling competition with a friend or 2 or 3 and tell a story, and each of your friends has to continue the story with those words. Or you could have a friend tell a story into which she or he has to insert the new index card words as you hold them up to them. Yeah, so just hold up this card, and you suddenly have to change your story a bit and integrate the word umbrella. You could, this is fairly difficult, I guess, tell a story backwards. You could go from the ending of the story back to the beginning. You could make just one sentence that grows longer and longer with every new index card, and so on. And of course, you can do all this on your own or in pairs or in a group if that is possible, if you feel like it. Basically, whatever you do, make sure you talk. This is the important thing, and the important mistake that many people make is that they just learn these words like I don't know, like you learn unconnected single items. Don't do that. Always put them in a context. Always use them. Use them in different tenses, different forms, he, she, it forms with an s at the end, and so on and so on. So talk, 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 talk a lot. Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening. I hope this has given you a little motivation to start doing this right away. And remember, even if it's just 10 words, that works very quickly, and you enlarge your vocabulary and feel good about it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me and ask me about what has been unclear or anything else you want to add, or maybe more ideas on what you could do with index cards and how else you could learn these new words. See you soon. Bye bye.